This is Dr. Paul Price, School Board Director, Region C for the Unionville-Chadds Ford School District. The views I'm about to speak are my own personal views and may or may not reflect the views of other board members currently serving. This topic today is Transportation Advisory Services Student Transportation Review, which was given to the board for results in March of 2011 by their director, Mark Walsh. What did they find when they did their survey? Here are some highlights of the executive summary. They said it appears that the district may financially benefit from outsourcing student transportation services. They noted that the district is providing full-time benefits to people who are working effectively part-time jobs. The projected PSERS contribution rate increases pose a heavy burden on the cost of transportation. The district should develop quality bid specifications and solicit bids for a possible conversion during the 2011-2012 school year. Simply soliciting bids does not commit us to making a change. It merely will give us the information we need to make an intelligent decision regarding that when we know the true costs of staying with the current system versus outsourcing. How did they come to these conclusions? What did they use to make that decision? Here's the reasoning and the numbers in essence. This is the large bus comparison on a daily price basis, and TAS went ahead and what's used was called the fuel provision adjustment, which allows us to look at it as an apples to apples basis. So our cost is $280.22 a day, and these are the costs per day for all these other nearby school districts for what they're doing currently with outsourcing. I added one more column that shows the cost advantage or disadvantage that Unionville-Chadds Ford has compared to all these other districts that do outsource. There was one district, Octorara, which had a very similar cost per day, but that was the exception. All the others were from about 14% to 39% cheaper. In other words, we're paying 39.86% more per day than Kutztown is. This is very significant with the kind of budget we have in transportation. And this is with the PSERS rates under 6%. The comparisons will get much, much worse as the years go by. What does this all mean? This is the topic that they addressed in their report to the board. They told us that it's impossible to know what a contractor would charge without issuing detailed bid RFP specifications. The report looked at the current cost of operations, that chart I just showed you, as compared to the current cost of contracted programs. Again, this is with PSERS at a relative bargain rate, which isn't going to stay that way. This is a quote directly from their report. From all indications, the public sector employment costs will be increasing at a rate that far exceeds any private sector labor cost increase. In other words, it's going to get worse and worse at an incredibly high rate in the future. TAS recommended that Unionville-Chadds Ford School District pursue all options to compare in-house versus outsourced transportation over both the near term and the long term before deciding how to proceed. This is another quote directly from their report. It appears that the potential for savings may be significant through outsourcing. Later in that same quote, they said, "We recommend the district develop a high-quality bid RFP specifications and publish this spring so that they could be ready for future outsourcing if that's the decision we make." What does it all come down to in the end? What are the takeaways we get from their report, or that I got anyhow? TAS understands the enormity of the decision. That's the exact words that they started out with, that they understand how big a decision this is. They recommended a critical review of the costing model be conducted by the board to ensure that all costs and assumptions are valid. Don't just take their word for it. We need to be sure that what they're telling us is accurate. With about a $4 million annual budget for transportation, the savings potential could easily exceed $1 million per year in the near term, and much more than that per year as the PSERS rate escalates dramatically in the future. We can no longer be assured that the state of Pennsylvania will continue to pay 50% of our PSERS costs as they have been in the past. Over the long haul, we're already seeing huge cutbacks in the state funding for our district. We just learned last week that we're likely to lose almost $500,000 in funding from the state just for next year's budget. The PSERS costs are not contractually obligated by them to be paid, and we can't count on that happening in the future. The money we save on transportation could be used to lessen the impact of these highly tightened budgets in regard to academic programs. So what it really comes down to is, what's more important for your child's education, academics or who's driving the bus? In my view, there's no contest. Academics have to come first. Other board members may disagree. Thanks for taking the time to listen. This has been Dr. Paul Price, School Board Director, Region C.